Morning once again. Would you see? We're looking at ways this month how Jesus worked with people and their transformation to really understanding who they are. So, would you see? I'd like to start with a poem from Spirit. Slipping through the hands of time, life in constant motion. The journey of the soul set free, seeking just to be. All that's planted in the seed, ready for transition. Experience the teacher propels a unique mission. To trot along the path of light and keep our vision clear. An open heart imperative, our guidance comes from here. A journey never ending, expanding by degree. Each important to the next. Subtle is the key. The subtleties of life. To keep our vision open, to keep our vision high. I think the essential lesson that life has to teach humanity is to face life itself. And oftentimes we don't want to face our life, do we? We don't want to even face life at all. But we came here to experience this life. And if we don't pay attention, if we don't look at it, if we don't ask, we miss our journey. We miss a journey. And we all know we get to come back. So let's just pay attention and we can continue on where we're going. Would you see? Would you see yourself differently? We're eternal beings. And I think this is what Jesus was doing. He was waking us up to our true self. So would you see? Would you see yourself differently? We used to sing a song, we'll probably sing it in the future, hear a choir song. They say, open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to know you. I want to be you. Open the eyes of my heart. So once we begin to open our heart and look from our heart, we begin to see life in a whole new light. We see the life we were born to live. It's a wonderful gift. When we talk about healing, a definition of healing I like to use is to replace a lower consciousness energy with a higher consciousness energy. And if we look at ourselves as eternal beings, doesn't that give us a whole new picture to look at? Doesn't that give us whole new eyes to look with? Would you see? Would you see yourself differently? I want to share a couple of short stories in the aquarium about Jesus and his healing ministry. The first chapter, 126. And in 126, Jesus is always has a group of people around him. He's always teaching. He's always doing something. But at the beginning of the chapter, it says, the scribes and Pharisees visit Jesus. See, the scribes and Pharisees, they'd heard of what he'd been doing, and so they wanted to see, well, who is this guy, and what's he doing, and how's he doing it? So they make this trip to go see him, okay? When they go to see him, they censure him for eating with unwashed hands. Do you think they got to see what they came to see? Were they looking at an old belief system that they were holding of the way things should be? And if we don't move through a certain belief system, we're not right. So they go there to see Jesus healing, to listen to him, to find out what he's all about. And the first thing they look at is old law. Old law that was really, we could say, blinding them to their now. And so Jesus goes on to teach them about hypocrisy. But then he just says, you men who pose as men of God and still reject the laws of God and teach the laws of men. And that's that perspective to look to the higher Jesus is bringing our identity, our true identity of spiritual beings, eternal beings, and how we can use higher law in which to manifest. In the process, we got to let go of that which no longer serves us, these lower laws. And a lot of times we walk through life and we get inspirations and glimpses and guidance in our meditation or just through life. And then we have to wrestle with ourselves because it doesn't look like what it used to look like. The thing to remember, if we're always going to go to Spirit, if we're going to go to the Christ, they went to Spirit, they went to Jesus the Christ. And if they would have just remained open to their intention, they would have seen. They didn't remain true to their intention. They were hypocrites to their intention. Chapter 138. This is a really neat story. And once again, Jesus is talking with his disciples, and they're talking about healing, and they're talking about karma and how we create and why we create certain things. And so this is a teaching lesson for them as well as for us. So chapter 138, starts with 11. And so affliction is a certain sign that one has debts to pay. Affliction is a certain sign that one has debts to pay. We create karma, we create experiences which we can work out, say, and balance our life. Okay? And then he goes, there's a blind man. He says, behold this man. Once in our life he was a cruel man, and in a cruel way he destroyed the eyes of a fellow man. And the parents of this man once turned their faces to a blind and helpless man and drove him from their door. And then Peter says, Lord, so if we can heal this person, if we can give him back his sight, are we erasing his karma? They're always trying to learn. He goes, no, we are not erasing their karma. They still have their karma to pay, but we give them maybe a gentler path on which they can serve man to really understand who they really are and who everyone else is. And we create a lot of things when we stand in that wrong identity. And when we see ourselves as a mere mortal man and we allow fear to guide us, we do a lot of things that might harm our fellow man, that might harm ourselves. So to begin to open up our eyes to see who we truly are, that we are spirit, we're all spiritual beings. We're all brothers and sisters. We're on this journey together to clear the confusion that we hold within our minds, and then to begin to express from our hearts our truth. And then so it goes on down, and so he teaches them a little bit, and so he calls the man to him, and he says, well, would you be healed? Do you want to see? Guy goes, yeah, I want to see. So he puts a little spit on the sign, and he says, go to this river and say this word 7 times and wash your eyes out, and you'll be seeing. You'll be able to see. And so the man does that. Working with the laws that Jesus worked with, it's like the man asked for permission. Would you be healed? Yes, I would be healed. Then he healed in his belief system. He made the man consciously participate by going and washing his eyes. And then just being grateful. And as we go through the story, the guy is grateful. So in verse 37, they find out about him. Some of the Pharisees find out what happened and said, well, who did this? And then he says, this man Jesus did. He spoke this word and did this thing, and, this is what he did. And they said, who do you think this man is? And the blind man says, he's a prophet sent from God. Now many of the Jews did not believe the man was blind from birth, and they said, there's no power to open up the eyes of one born blind. Once again, we've got like a lower consciousness. What is possible with spirit, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible. Man, we own our limitations, and we will fight to the death to uphold our limitations. So Jesus is walking and just trying to free us all. Okay. So they didn't believe he was blind, so they got his parents. And they say, that's it. So here's his parents. They go into the temple. yes, this is our son. He was blind when he was born. He can see now. We don't know anything. They don't want to stand forth in a truth that they just saw. You see? Because they were afraid that they might be kicked out of the temple. You see? Their total belief system, their reality, because their religion was their life. So even though they knew what happened, they weren't going to stand up and decree it or say it. We don't know anything. Talk to him. Go back and talk to him. They go back and talk to the man, and he says, all I know is that I was once blind and now I see. And a discussion. I think I'm going to stay in the now. I'm not going to argue with you of who's a saint, who's a sinner. I was blind and now I see. And I'm going to be in the now. I'm going to be in the now. I'm going to stay in the now. And a lot of times when we have experiences, one thing about experience, no one can take our experience away from us, can they? We own it. We own it. But a lot of people around us will try to take our experience away from us because it's rocking their world, what's normal for them. They're used to limitation, and when the unlimited nature of Spirit or God begins to flow into their world, into their life, they don't know what to do. It scares them. Fear has been the teacher for so long. It keeps us from the light. And the last little story is 150, and it's a favorite one, and it's about Bartimaeus. And he's a blind man. He's sitting on the side of the road. And he hears all this commotion going on. He goes, who's that? What's all this stuff? And he said, it's Jesus, the prophet's going to walk by. So Bartimaeus starts yelling, Lord, son of David, son of David, heal me. He's yelling. In essence, he understands who Jesus is, the Christ, the Son of God made manifest. Oh, God made manifest. He's not letting anybody tell him what to do. And they're saying, shh, be quiet. Be quiet down. He wouldn't quiet down. And then Jesus is going, well, who's that? And they say, well, that's Bartimaeus. He's a blind man. And so Jesus, Bartimaeus, come here. Come to me. Bartimaeus jumps up. And as he's running to Jesus, he's taken off his robes and his cloak. He stands before Jesus, and Jesus says, would you have your sight back? Oh, Lord, I would. And he says, well, raise your vision. Raise your vision. And you'll be able to see. And he raised it, he could see. And I think this is a great example of someone who was aware of Spirit. He was aware of Jesus, the Christ. We become aware of Christ in our life, Spirit in our life, and the unlimited potential. And then we go to that, and then we surrender. I would be healed. I don't have the answers at this moment in time. I would be healed. Yes, I would be healed. Well, raise your vision. So we raise our vision. So we raise our vision away from matter or our mortal belief in reality to Spirit. Spirit creates matter. And the transformation can occur. And it's just examples of how the people around him said, quiet down. Like maybe you don't deserve to be healed. Maybe you don't deserve your sight. Well, that's not ours to say. Pick up your bed and walk. That's what is ours to do. To begin to realize that we're not comfortable or happy or we're in pain where we're at. And we do have a choice in the situation. And when we look up and connect with Spirit, that's where we now begin to partner with God. And that's when transformation can occur. So replacing a lower consciousness energy with a higher consciousness energy, lifting from our consciousness of mere mortal and the loss of man to seeing ourselves as eternal spiritual beings. Well, just in that, begin to affect tremendous change in our world, in our life. And so as we begin to do this, we might look different to the world, and we might look different to our family and to our friends and everything. And when we do this, and we begin to allow Spirit to guide us, we'll begin to see maybe patterns that won't serve us, living at a higher level of consciousness. And then it's up to us to choose to let them go. It served its purpose. And when anything, any experience, any belief, any law, any understanding that we have has served its purpose, it's time to let it go so that the next can come to us, the higher can come to us for greater understanding, for greater wisdom, for greater truth, for greater love. Would you see yourself differently? To begin to see ourselves differently, to see ourselves as spiritual beings and not just limited mortal beings. We all have that choice every day we wake up. And it's a wonderful gift that we have. Can we accept it? Can we accept the gift that the universe has given to us? A lot of times, Jesus would say, to be as a little child, to be open and receptive and to be as innocent as a little child. Because when we're open and receptive and as innocent as a little child to spirit to move through our life, it'll move us and open up our hearts. It'll give a greater space for love to grow, for spirit to grow within this vehicle, within our life, within our world. To be as a little child. To not be childish, to be childlike. To be childlike. Innocent, open, receptive, trusting. Trusting. Our consciousness is only limited by our ability to love and embrace with our love the space around us and all that it contains. Our consciousness is only limited by our ability to love and embrace with our love the space around us and all it contains. So, how powerful is the space around us and what occupies that space? It's a wonderful opportunity and experience for us to grow our love. To grow our love. And that's the simple teachings of Jesus. The songs, love, love. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord, so I can see with love, so I can be with love. To begin to understand that we're the chooser. We have that ability. We have that ability to allow love to flow through us. But we have to let go of the past patterns, conditionings, the training, the way it is, the way it was. If we want to move into what can be, what can be. God is love. To know God rather than to know about God. To know God is to move into that life experience. To move into the life experience of love within each heart, God within each heart. And look with those eyes and look and see that. That's why we like metaphysical Christian, saying beyond. See, we want to go beyond the physical to see the Spirit. The Spirit which is animating, which is creating our physical experience. And once we go there, then we can allow that love to be even more powerful in our life. That's when we can say, thy will be done. Thy will be done. And when we say thy will be done, that'll rock our world. One of the teachings, powerful teachings of Jesus that he taught his disciples, but he taught everyone, well, he taught them to begin to follow the will of God rather than the law of God. See, there's no law of God. The laws are the laws of man. And if we want to follow the will of God, we have to listen. We have to listen to God so that we can follow the will of God. That's pretty hard, isn't it? Gotta listen. Darn it! You know how revolutionary that was in his day? Who did the powers to be want people to listen to? The powers to be? Listen to God. Go to God's will. Follow God's will. And there's only one way to do that. Listen to God. And that's one thing that Cindy's always taught her from the God. When we're in any experience in life, we're walking through life, to go within. What's mine to do here, God? What's mine to do here? And you'll get a guidance, you'll get a directive. You know, we can choose to follow it or not. But once we start going there first, that is going to get stronger and stronger in our manifestation in life. What's mine to do? And begin to follow it. So, to know God rather than to know of God. It's better to experience life rather than analyze life. Do you ever know anyone who overanalyzed life? I think we all overanalyze life to a certain extent. And sometimes we overthink it. And I think the main teaching of Jesus the Christ is that journey from our head to our heart. See, just like we got eyes in our heart, we got a mind in our heart. It's called the divine mind. And we can begin to understand things on a whole different level. So when we just go there and not overthink things, trust in God, trust in Spirit, beyond the physical, and walk. That's the transformation. That's the gift. Gift of Jesus, showing us who we are. Can't you see it? See, he could see us. He could see man. He could see the people he walked with. And his heart was so big in his compassion. He was like, okay, you know. But he never stopped planting seeds, teaching them, but mainly demonstrating, walk in the talk. He was the love made manifest. And these things I do, you should do some greater. So, if we stay in the past, thoughts, beliefs, patterns, okay? As long as we stay in the old paradigm, we will never know its source. If we stay in the old paradigm, we'll never know its source. And you know where its source is? Within. Within. That's the true teaching where Jesus was taking everybody to. He was taking them within. That's the true source. That's your true power, going within. As a man, as a woman thinketh in their heart, so it is. So, as we move into a new paradigm of life experience and expression and manifestation, to begin to go within and seek the will of God, not the laws of man, the mores of society. That's just the way it is. And there's always been light on the planet. And there's a lot of light on the planet now. And there's a lot of light within each of your heart. And as we begin to just give it a space to grow and expand, that's the transformation that we all seek, individually and collectively. It's the Father within who doeth the works. It's the Father within who speaks the words. The living word flows from our heart. It flows from our heart. If thine eye be single. If thine eye be single. We've heard that one. If thine eye be single. When we move beyond the vision prisons of historical definitions and release our heart to love, our body will be filled with light. See, if thine eye be single, thy whole body will be filled with light. So if thine eye be single, that's, we want to go look and see oneness. Oneness, see, there's one presence, one power in the universe, God, the good, omnipotent. So let's see with oneness. If thine eye be single, okay? So when we make our eyes single, we got to let go of all the old. Say, move beyond the vision prisons of historical definitions and release our heart to love. Release our heart to love. How neat's that? You know, we don't think of ourselves as a jailer, do we? And yet we imprison our heart because we limit love. And that love is God's expression, free to everyone. So we can release our heart to love, and our body will be filled with light, and then our world will be filled with light. So as we begin to walk in this new age, in this time of consciousness evolution, some of the steps that we could do to wake up, to support love in our expression, is to begin to surrender to God, to begin to seek God's will. What's mine to do here? What is ours to do here? You know, release attachment to human knowledge, and that's a good one, isn't it? Release attachment to human knowledge, individual and collective. Human knowledge may serve humans. We're spirit. And let go of favored concepts, images, and beliefs. And don't we like to hang out to our favorites? I mean, like if I go on a healthy eating pattern, I still think frozen yogurt's good for me. Especially moose tracks. Moose tracks, frozen yogurt. It's gluten-free too. But, you know, perhaps there's something even greater. But until we let go, we can't receive. And so, would you be seen? Would you be seen? Because until you're seen on the planet, until you're seen in life, you're not a part of life. You're not a part of life. Let's go within. And as we close our eyes, let's just close our eyes and breathe. And let's consciously close the door to the worldly way. We close the door to the worldly way, the past patterns, manifestations, creations. And as we breathe in, let's turn our awareness within. We turn our awareness within and we breathe in. We ride that holy breath into our heart. Breathe in that holy breath and allow that holy breath to move you right into your heart. And as you're moving into your heart, you're going to find yourself in the garden of your heart. And as you find yourself standing in the garden of your heart, just look around. Just look around your garden. And what you see. What you've planted. Feel the energy within the garden of your heart. How do you feel? How does it feel to be in this garden? This sacred place? Where resides that radiant light, that radiant love I am? As you walk through your garden, I want you to find a comfortable place to just sit down for a moment. And as you sit down in your garden, ask that a radiant column of light come over you now. And just breathe in this light, this living light. And just know that within this light, this living light, is God's love. So feel it showering down through your crown chakra, showering over your body, rays of light, beautiful light, love light, holding you safe, and feel yourself being lifted into a space of higher awareness, lifting to that space of truly knowing I am. So just breathe and be in that energy. I am love. I am love. And as you're in the space of love, if there's any experience or situation or person in your life that could use this higher love, just send it to that person, place, situation, experience. Just send this unconditional love of God. That it can be lifted into God's will. We send unconditional love. In our prayer, Thy will be done, Father. Thy will be done. And just breathe. And just feel your unique love. Your unique gift. Breathe and feel yourself being lifted higher, moving faster and freer through the universe of light, returning back to this sacred space we call inner quest. Take a breath and feel your consciousness return to your physical body now. As you sit in your chair, feel your feet on the floor. Feel that radiant connection with Mother Earth. Just feel that Mother Earth energy coming up to the bottoms of your feet, moving through your whole body. Feel that Father God love and light streaming through your crown chakra. Just feel your heart. Receiving these energies, blending these energies, balancing the energies. Allowing for a clear manifestation of the love made manifest. And see yourself now as that radiant love and light of God. Accept yourself as the love of God made manifest. Breathe and feel what you feel and how you feel. This is who you are. This is who I am. Breathe. Feel. And just gently open your eyes. As we go forth this week, a little mantra that we might use would be, open the eyes of my heart, Lord. I want to see you. I want to be you. Dear God,